honored to have Attorney Stephanie Sneed, Chair of the CMS Board of Education, and a steadfast champion for educational equity. With a background in civil litigation and years of advocacy for vulnerable children, Stephanie's leadership blends legal expertise with community commitment. She has prioritized resource equity, teacher support, and culturally responsive leadership. Under her chairship, the board has worked towards stronger communication, inclusive policies, and partnerships that expand opportunity for all students. Her work is rooted in justice, transparency, and belief that every student deserves dignity and access. Board Sneed, thank you so much for coming. Or is it Chair Sneed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you call me Stephanie. It's fine.
Okay.
We're family here.
Thank you for joining us on Voices of Resilience. I'm honored to have you here. Before we get started, we like to break the ice, get you comfortable. And so can you tell us a fun fact about you that no one would ever guess?
That no one would ever guess. That is a tough one. I can tell you, I know exactly what to tell you. I'm in search of the perfect grill. Like for your teeth.
Yes.
Like I'm looking for the perfect, like it can't be too much, just a little something that I can wear on the weekend.
On the weekends.
Yes.
Catch me on the weekends. Yes. Okay. I like that. Oh, that's dope. Why education? Why education?
I mean, why not?
Right.
I say this every place I go, whether I'm in the presence of the mayor, the chair of the county commission, somebody from the General Assembly, if it was Barack Obama, it doesn't matter. So I always say this is literally my tagline, is that the most important thing is education.
Yes.
The most important elected body is the Board of Education.
Yes.
So most people think, and naturally so they kind of rank. We know everybody knows who the mayor is, and and it kind of goes down from there. But the education has the number one impact than any of these other bodies combined, because what happens to kids in our schools has generational impact.
Yes.
It's generational impacts. And the other thing I'll say about that too is, and I always stump people with this, I have never been stumped. I said, name something in the city or the county that is an ill, something that you don't like. And I say, I bet you I can tie it back to education.
Right.
And I have not been stumped yet. And people have come up with some odd things, but I have never been stumped. I can definitely make that direct connection to anything.
That's awesome. Now, you have a story behind the reason why you initially wanted to run for the Board of Education. Can you tell the viewers, we got to go way back to get to now.
Yes.
Of why you wanted to do this. You're a very busy person. You have an entire life, but one day you got mad.
I did. And so I don't recommend this path, but, or maybe I do. So essentially I was mad about a single issue.
Right.
And it had to do with assignment boundaries, and something was, I've always been active at my kids' schools. And at that time, I think I only had one that was in actually elementary school. My son was a toddler. And it was something about the boundaries were being changed, and, they started sending messages to the PTA. So I was a part of the PTA, and they were like, oh, we need people to go to the school board meeting because they're trying to make these changes. And I'm like, what's going on? We didn't know anything about it. So mad. But when I got there, I realized really the decision kind of had already been made. Like, that people had already, coalesced in their neighborhoods and had advisory committees and all of these things. And I was like, this is crazy. And so I said, and so once I realized that, I had my response to the board. And so what I said was, what I'm going to do is make sure none of you are in your seats again. And what I did, filing just happened to be open.
Right.
And I just took myself down to the Board of Election and filed. Didn't know anything about running for a campaign. I came home and told my husband, I was like, I filed to run for school board today. He was like, what? I didn't know anything about it. So I lost that election. And I would almost say rightfully so. So, it was painful once I got into it.
Right.
I knew that, and really, I was coming from a place of privilege.
Right.
A place of privilege.
Right.
Like I had no idea of all of the systemic issues that were within our school system and the disparities and the gaps in student outcomes. No idea, because, I mean, you know, frankly, I went to one of the better schools, one of our most supported schools. I'm not going to say better, one of our more supported schools that's in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. So, but once I got into it, I was like, oh no, it's all of these issues. Lost that election in 2017, but I didn't leave the space, because once my eyes were open, I was like, oh no, we got to fix this. We got to do this thing. So I was like a community advocate, was on the one of the founding members for the Westside Education think tank, which was such a learning experience and being hands-on with parents and families. Like it was hands-on. So I just learned so much, started digging into data. So 2019 came. That was an at-large race, and did everything right. Textbook, everything. Like, it was nothing. I feel like I checked all of the boxes. Right. Lost that election by 195 votes. And it's 195 voting precincts. So literally all I needed was one more person and 2 more and 1 to win. Right. I wasn't discouraged. I mean, you know, that was a tough loss. I would say, you know, it was tough because it was so close, right? And when you think that you've done every single thing right. Still was in the education space, still considered the advocacy. In the between time, I became the chair of the Black Political Caucus. Yes. Made education a priority of the caucus, and which was a wonderful learning experience as well. That was more voter engagement, which is wonderful. And then when 22 came up, I started getting phone calls. You should consider running. Right. I'm like, I don't know. It was a tough decision for a number of reasons. One, you know, kind of after you lose 2 elections, people kind of looking at you like, you getting the message? Right. Maybe you don't resonate with people. Right. And plus, I very much enjoy being a chair of the caucus, and I didn't want to particularly step down from that in order to do it. When I tell you, and this is funny, it took me so long to make that decision. Whatever day filing closed, you know, the filing always closes at noon. Right. Whatever day that is. I walked in there. I boo-hooed the entire time I was in there. When I tell you boo-hooed, my husband sitting there like, he was like, you ain't got to do this. Like, it was just like, it's okay. I was like, it just was I didn't want to let people down because I had committed to the caucus. Right. And then it's a scary thing, particularly once you get into that third race. And it was so many challenges before that were disheartening, that battles that I didn't think I was going to have to fight with people that that you think are like-minded, right? Yes. So it was very tough decision. So I filed at 11:59. Oh my. Literally, it was 11:59. Wow. And what gave me that support was one of the staff persons at the Board of Elections said, oh, you know, somebody just called up here for you. And I was like, what? And they was like, oh, no, they were just trying to see if you were here filing. They wanted to make sure you came. And then another story was told that somebody was sitting in the parking lot waiting on me. Listen, a person I didn't even know. Right. They just wanted to see me, hoping I would go and walk in. That is Now I'm emotional. Yeah. So it is. So all of those losses were for a reason. So I guess my point is like, you know, and it's just the same with any other person that you see publicly or whatever you think about. Oh, you think the person's path is easy. Right. And it was not that. Well, you make it look, you make this thing look easy, because I wouldn't have never known. No, it was not that. I mean, it is some of the hardest things that I've had to do is run for office. I mean, it is difficult. So hats off to anybody that makes that decision. But and when you face these losses, like, it really is a story of testament. Like, it is. So to me, education is always going to be my space. If I lose this election, I'm still going to be in the education space. That's right. It's just going to look different, right? It's just going to look different. Right. And it's just, I'm just that committed to it. I'm going to say this, you know, and this is just my opinion in my podcast, but we can't afford that to happen, because the gains, you know, that we've made in CMS
on the board? I mean, I want to make sure that there's a distinction between, because a lot of times you are the chair, but you also are on the board. So it's like an extra hat.
It is.
It's an extra responsibility. And so with that being said, as the board chair, how do you balance your leadership responsibilities with the needs of your specific district?
It's hard, right? I mean, it's hard. I mean, most people, you think that you're going to be, if you're the chair, that it means, oh, you're going to particularly get this initiative things. It's mostly about managing people.
Yes.
It's mostly people management. Like, really it is. And to making sure, like, we kind of stay on task and keep the mission, the main thing. Right. And that is probably the most difficult thing. The good thing about that is that we have our board is modeled on student outcomes focused governance.
Yes.
So what does that mean? That means we're supposed to focus most of our times on students. You think that's easy?
No.
It's not.
Not at all.
It's not. It's not. For anybody watching, it's not, because you can easily be in a rabbit hole of stuff we have no business being in.
Right.
Like,
we're grown folks.
Yes. Like, we need to focus on students. Like, not all of all of the many things that you can be distracted by. So that's good that we have that model. So that helps keep us focused. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is the example that I always give for folks so they can know what it means. Like, so I shouldn't be asking about why this school has chocolate milk and that school has strawberry milk.
Exactly.
Like, that's operations. That's not about outcomes. It's not affecting student outcomes. Right. So that gives us a base to work from.
Right.
So to respond to your question, to balance the needs of the district, that centers us in that, because every district, we need to be focused on student outcomes. Like, the needs may look different. Mm-hmm. My district is probably the most diverse. Yes. It's definitely the most languages spoken, right? Because I'm on the east side. The majority of my districts I go from uptown, all of the east side, and Mint Hill. Right. So that traditional east side pocket has lots of languages spoken. So it may look different. Right. But that's the good thing about the lens that we have. So yes, you need to accomplish all of these goals, Superintendent Dr. Hill, who's wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes.
How we get there may look different.
Yes.
In our district. Because one district has needs look like this one thing, and one district's needs looks like chocolate milk and the other looks like strawberry milk. Right. But still, nonetheless, the goal has to be accomplished.
Right. So what equity-focused decisions are you most proud of during your time on the board? Because, I mean, we're talking about the different types of milk. We're just talking about the different types of needs.
We're talking about the different types of needs.
But there is a need, and it's being looked at.
So I think it is abundantly clear that the superintendent cannot forsake those needs in order to accomplish those goals.
Right.
It resonates from the top to the bottom. So that's the thing, like, systemically, that I am the most proud of. Like, I can see that. I can very much see that, because what we know is and even Dr. Hill talked about this in our latest results. Like, so let's just say we have a low performing school. Mm-hmm. So we do all of our concentration at this low performing school. But then what first year we figured out was, oh my God, it was some schools that were on the brink.
Right.
And now they're low performing. Right. So we went through that process two cycles ago. So we like, oh no, we got to do all these things at once. Everything. Yes. Everything at the same time. We got to have the concentration with needs. And what did that, it may look like additional coaching for teaching staff. It may look like recruitment and retention efforts. How are we attracting high qualified teachers and getting them to be at some of our more challenging schools? One of the things is housing, right?
Right.
So one of the things is, which I will say that's my heart. That is because that's something in 2017 that I wanted to see happen. Like, I felt like that's something that we could be in that space. And literally, the funny story is, in 2017, I literally was walking from apartment complex to apartment complex, asking the management,
would you consider
having a discount apartment for teachers? Like, how many units? Like, I said, oh, can you give me 10% of their units? They were like, no. And I'm like, okay, 2?
Right.
One, I'm like, sure. So that's how I knew there was an interest in supporting this effort. So now to see how that has scaled
Yes.
with the point of we have partnerships with home builders that will allow discount housing. Like one teacher is now a homeowner. So the goal is always to move into home ownership, even though we have partnerships with apartment complexes. Is that we had a teacher close just the other day.
See, that's
Westerly Hills in a townhome.
Yes.
First of all, it was built at cost. At cost. And then with all of the incentives and partnerships with banks, it took off over $115,000.
Wow.
So the cost of the mortgage is less than you can get
Anywhere.
anywhere. In Charlotte.
In Charlotte.
So it's like those things, and those things kind of mean equity, because then it gives the opportunity for us to have, and there are commitments like that, you may be assigned to one of our more challenging schools, but that's how we're getting highly qualified teachers.
That was going to be my next question, because no one's standing in line. I'm saying this to everybody. No one's standing in line to teach anymore. We're not even talking about salary, which you and I will get into that in a few minutes. We're talking about the culture. We're talking about the culture of teaching and how a lot of teachers don't feel respected. And you and I, we shooting marbles together.
Yes.
We came up during a time where your teacher was like everything. They was like the Beyonce. They was, to me, the person that I looked up to. I don't know about you, but it was just respect given, and it was an occupation that a lot of people wanted to be in. If they didn't become an attorney or a doctor, there was a teacher. And it was like, oh, she's teaching at this school and such, what can we do? And just in your experience as being on the board and being a chair and working closely with Dr. Hill and everyone else, what can we do to create a culture that honors our teachers and respects them for
That's a good question. I mean, that's a really good question. Like, how did society change the nomenclature of what does it mean to be a teacher? For one, I think it starts with the district. So it's like inside out. And respecting the fact that they are professionals, that they do have degrees, that they do have an input to provide. And I think that's, when I say it's perfect, I don't want to say by any means it's not. So don't send me a bunch of emails saying no. There is a concentration on it. And how do I know that we start that culture from the top? Because Dr. Hill started a recruitment and retention division. She has a working group of teachers that she meets with, I think it's at least quarterly, to get their input on things, right? There's I think it's STAC. I don't want to say the wrong acronym. But that she meets with that are teachers that can provide input. There are surveys that are sent out. And, one of the good things is I can say is that 88% this last cycle said, the question was, are they in a place that they like to work? There was some wording like that. And that answer was 88% yes. We know this is changing by our retention rates. There was a big concentration on our beginning school teachers because the turnover rate was high. When I say beginning school teachers, I'm talking about years 1 through 3, and we've brought that down by 5%. We had the end of the last school year, we only had we were 99% staffed for teachers. And at the beginning of the school year, the lowest that we've had in many years at the first day of school number. So that's how we kind of know we're making a difference. So I'm giving a long answer, but it starts with the culture within the school system. And then of how we respect them. So everywhere I go and say the number one thing, and Dr. Hill says that, so I've picked up on that language. The number one thing we can do for our students is to have a highly qualified teacher in front of every one of them in every classroom. So if the concentration is there, then that respect comes there. Like, no, we need you. We need these high qualified. And we're just like any other employer. I mean, we have great, and then we have some that we got to work with. And it's some that aren't a good fit.
Hey, we just talked about that, because the thing about it is you should not have to teach with fear. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to teach with fear. I've seen firsthand how you have good administrators. They'll go in there and they'll help teachers to be better, because it's not like there's a book, just like raising children. You're with children more than they're with their parents. But the other part of this is educating parents about how teachers should be treated, one, which you just talked about, but also how they should be paid.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of that, what I'll say, energy, has been pushed at CMS. Why aren't you, paying teachers more? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't they getting paid their worth? And so what I would like for you to do is explain why this is not a Mecklenburg issue, and it is a state issue.
It is a state issue. We don't have the ability to raise our own funds. So what does that mean? We don't have a taxing authority. So if your taxes go up, it's not because the school board has said the taxes need to go up. We don't have that taxing authority. So a majority of the salary comes from our state legislator, our General Assembly, our North Carolina General Assembly. We are 48th in the country in terms of pay.
Oof.
So what does that mean? That means that you need $61,000 to afford to make $61,000 to afford a studio apartment in Mecklenburg County. And what do our beginning teachers come in? Our beginning teachers come in at $48,000, and that's because we have a supplement. The starting pay is less than that. It's about $45,000 on the state rate. And what do I mean by supplement? We have a county commissioners that exercise the option to provide our school district with additional money. So we are one of the highest. We're always battling between Wake County on what the county supplements our teachers' salaries with. And so they provide additional funds to supplement our salaries. So it is not at the base state rate.
We're one of 4 counties that don't get the state.
Yes. Well, yes, there's an additional fund, that we don't, because we're the large county.
Right.
Because they
think that because it looks like we got money, but
it looks like we have money, but the part that is not factored in, they're referred to us as the great state of Mecklenburg. That's how our General Assembly, some of our General Assembly members refer to Mecklenburg County. So that's a battle in and of itself, right? So it is the perception that, oh, no, you're a wealthy county.
Right.
But here's the thing, because we're a wealthy county, we have a greater population, we have greater needs, and there are so many income disparities within our county.
Yes.
So, yes, but we're supporting a lot of people that because of the income gap, the wealth gap.
The wealth gap.
And so they're not taking into effect that an apartment in, I'm trying to pick a small county versus a 1-bedroom apartment in Mecklenburg County. Rowan. The disparity is great. And so it takes more money. So that's the part that we need our General Assembly to understand, is that the cost of living here is more.
Yes. Okay. So with all of that, with the cost, with all of the things that we are, the challenges, but also some of the good things that have happened, how do you see the board evolving in the next year, especially given the current political climate?
That's a great question. And let me tell you, so I started implementing this 2 meetings ago. Because what was in our climate, one, we're in a clickbait climate.
Yes.
We're in a misinformation climate.
Yes.
Like that misinformation spreads so quickly. It's quick. So what I've implemented is I said to the board and to our board staff, like our clerk, we're going to fight misinformation. And how are we going to do that? So people could sign up to speak. It's not an opportunity for exchange, right? You're just making comments at us.
Right.
Like I kept seeing comment after comment, and literally like I'm itching in my seat because I'm like, no, that's not right. They don't have all the information.
Right.
So every time somebody comes to speak at the Board of Education now, you get an email back from our board clerk. It'll say, thank you for coming to addressing your comments.
I love that.
At the Board of Education.
Yes.
If it was completely accurate and whatever, then it just says, thank you for speaking on this, whatever the topic was. We appreciate you being engaged. If the comments were based in any misinformation, then it'll be, thank you for making this comment. I wanted to give you some information about the topic you spoke. So it'll be the information so that they are armed with the correct information. So to battle those things, just arming people with the right information, not trying to suppress any advocacy.
That's right.
But you got to be armed with the right information.
That's right.
So that's like one of the things of we have to start moving into is really helping people understand, like what you talked about, where teacher pay really comes from. What does it mean to attend a private school, and they may not have the same? They require the same standards of a public school system. What does it mean to be at a charter school? So you make your choice,
right?
But it should be an informed choice.
Yes.
So I think that that's the direction that the board really needs to start moving into, is that we have an obligation to inform the public.
That's right.
So they can make the right decisions, for one, for themselves and their family, and the other two, become advocates.
Yes.
Because I can say all day long,
right,
hey, we need to do this, and this, but we got to have the coalition of folks.
That's right. That's right.
To support.
And we need people to know how it functions locally and at the state, because you vote locally and at the state.
Yes.
Just like the examples that you gave, if somebody would have just come out and voted at this precinct, I could have been here earlier on doing this work. But the other part is that you just don't stop here. You have to vote for people in the General Assembly who hold the same value system that you do, and who's going to push the initiative forward for our teachers and for all the staffs in our schools.
Yes.
So before we leave, and I can talk to you because you got the information. But before you leave, I want you to talk to your district and just to the people who've supported you and tell them why they should vote for you again.
The work is not done. I mean, when I tell you I'm super excited about all of the things that are happening with Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, what I also have been saying lately is don't believe the hype. And why do I say that? I say don't believe the hype because what is often reported in our local media or by even within our own communities, all of the negative things. But when I tell you we have great things happening at CMS, we have great things happening, that work needs to continue. We have made historic gains in student outcomes. We are like number 1 in the state for growth, academic growth of the large school districts. Number 1. So it is amazing things happening, from how we are attacking reading, recruitment and retention, particularly with our homes program, how we're recruiting people into the profession, if you are, and supporting that. I mean, our community and family engagement is making great strides. We are all in, and we know it has to start with us in order for you to have that belief to support our system. And now it's your turn. We need you to be our advocates. We need you to lean in, so we can continue this great work. The work is not done, but now is the time that we can make even greater gains because we have the blueprint. So all I can say is that I started this with CMS needs Sneed, and I'm going to end it with CMS still needs Sneeds.
Yes.
And really would appreciate your support.
Yes, the work is not done, okay? So Thank you so much for coming with us and being on Voices of Resilience, and we'll see you at the ballot.
Yes, I'll see you at the polling place.
At the polls.
Yeah.